Hi everyone, Pragati here. Welcome back to my video. Thanks for coming back into my channel. So in this video, I'm just trying to share with you something that that was bugging me for a while actually, until I figured out which way to go. And this thing was whether I should be buying a growth property or whether I should be buying a high yielding property. So, and I think there are lots of other investors as well who sort of are in a dilemma on this certain topic, a growth property versus a high yield property. Which one should you be buying? Okay, so I've done, I did a lot of research, and a bit of a soul searching, if you like, did your own sort of calculations and look at your lifestyle and where you want to be in near future or in a midterm future, and you sort of realize what exactly you should be doing, and the things that came into the play as I was trying to figure out this, there were four things that came into the play, before you decide which one should you be buying. So firstly, you should know the time that is available for you. Okay, so what I mean by time is, if whether you got 10 years, if you were towards the retirement days, for example, you haven't got much time left for you to get the benefit of your property investment. But whereas if you are starting early on in your life, when you are young, maybe only 25 or 18, 20, so you got plenty of time to enjoy or to receive the growth benefit of the property. Okay, so think about how much time you've got available for you. Okay, number two is your target. Excuse me. The target here, I mean, your monthly sort of what sort of income target are you looking at? Are you looking at £5,000 a month? Are you looking at 3,000? What sort of monthly income target are you looking to achieve from your property investment? Okay, so if you are expecting your expenses to be high, then of course your target will be high as well. Okay, so you got to sort of look at the lifestyle that you want to live in near future, which will dictate your expenses, and the expenses will dictate your target. Okay, so high expenses, high target. Okay, so that's the next thing, your target. Also think about whether your current income is likely to go up or down. So let's say you are on a low income jobs, okay, and your income in near future, you don't see your income going up in near future, then that will also come into the factor on whether you should be buying a growth property or a high yielding property. So if your income is not going up in the near future, then maybe you should be buying a high yielding property, because high yielding property will give you that extra income to compensate for the not rise in your current income in near future. So that, so which is your expectation, rent, your income expectation. And the fourth one was actually the expenses, which are already linked up with the second point here, with your target income, which is linked with the expenses. So like I said, the higher the expenses, the higher the monthly income target would be. So these are the four things that you should really think about, you and your life and your plans, before you decide whether you should be going for a growth property or a high yielding property. So just to just in case if you're not sure what I mean by growth properties, so growth properties are properties that you expect to rise in value in future. Okay, so that future could be a midterm to long term, not immediate. Okay, so that's a growth property. Whereas high yielding property will start giving you good monthly income from day one, as long as it is rented. Okay, so from day one you start getting a good £300 to £400 a month of income from the time you start investing, whereas growth property will have a slightly lower income. It could be even half of the high yielding property, but then in 5-10 years down the line, the value of the property will go up. It will significantly go up, a lot more than your high yielding property. Okay, so just think about those things there. And what is best is of course the best thing to have is as the balanced of these the two types of properties. But sadly, what we don't find in the market is there is no one particular property that will fit both. So this property may not be high yielding at the same time high growth. So what you should, not you should, but what I think is the right thing to do is you start off with probably if you're looking at me, I'm starting with a high yielding properties. So we start off with a couple of high yielding properties, and once you've got a bit of a high yielding property, then have a high growth property. Okay, so every 2 or 3 high yielding property you can have a high growth property. So you sort of have best of the both worlds, but from separate properties, not from the same one property. Okay, so that's something that you can do. But then if you are a different kind of investor where you have a high income and you have a high deposit, then you can always start with the high growth properties, because high growth properties are generally a bit expensive in the beginning, but also quite rewarding later on in life. Okay, so so if you've got a handsome amount of money for the deposit, start with a high growth property. And if you haven't got so much deposit, then of course high yielding property would be the start. But the key here is to start early, whichever one you are on, whichever stage you are on. Start early, so don't wait for yourself to have a large amount of deposit and then think, what, I'm going to buy a high yielding property, but I'll wait for 5 years until I get enough deposit. That 5 years of time, you could already be achieving your financial freedom during that time. So do not wait. Just start off with anything that you can afford now. I think that's the right thing to do for me, from my experience at least. So that is what I wanted to share with you. So hopefully if you enjoyed that video and if you learned something like that, please do like and subscribe so other people can also benefit from this. And happy investing for financial freedom.